Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to Low Season Traveller Insider Guides. This past month, we were invited over to the Islands of Tahiti by our very good friends at Tahiti Tourisme, so that we could learn exactly what the experience is like for visitors during this low season period. It may have been the rainy season, but we only saw rain on 2 days, and to be honest, it was quite a refreshing welcome from the warmth of the Tahitian summer. The islands of Tahiti are arguably among the most stunningly beautiful in the world. Formed from the demise of 3 volcanoes, these islands not only have an incredible natural beauty, but they have an ancient, rich and diverse cultural heritage which remains strong to this day. In this series, we seek to learn more about the traditions, beliefs, culture and heritage as we set out to discover the true essence of Tahiti when we meet the Tahitians. Episode 1 is with Torea Kolas, who is the Marketing and Communications Director for Air Tahiti Nui, the national carrier of French Polynesia, and he has the role of ensuring that the essence of Tahiti is captured and felt whenever anyone first set foot aboard the national carrier of Tahiti. In this first episode, recorded in the Air Tahiti Nui head office on our first full day in Tahiti, we asked Torea to help us to understand what mana is and how Air Tahiti Nui brings the mana to their flights. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Torea Kolas. I'm head of marketing and communication for Air Tahiti Nui, which is the national carrier of French Polynesia.
And it's great for you to join us, and thank you so much for your time. You've regaled us with quite a few stories already this morning before we started rolling the cameras, and your passion for your islands absolutely comes across. It's probably fair to say, interestingly, when we knew that we were meeting you from Air Tahiti Nui, it's fair to say we thought that the conversation would be largely dominated about the airline and the types of aircraft and everything else. And actually, all you've done, I say all you've done, but you've been just speaking to us and you've had us all transfixed by talking about the culture and the people of Tahiti. And I think there's something really beautiful about that, because that seems to be already, this is only our second day on Tahiti, it seems to be running through as a theme. Everybody is so passionate about the island. And we hear this word again and again, and I'd like you to tell us exactly what this word means, because we're hearing it so often. The mana here in the islands of Tahiti. What exactly, how can you sum up what the mana is in Tahiti?
Well, I think that if we look at the ethnological part of Polynesians coming from Southeast Asia, I think there's a part of our culture that is coming from that Southeast Asian wisdom of the chi, the force of nature, the energy of life. And somehow the word we're using to describe it is mana in French Polynesia. So I wouldn't say I would say the word mana is proper to the Pacific, but it relates to, I think, what every tribe in the world has found is the energy of life. And then if you understand that mana is the energy of life, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, but Polynesians were animists and polytheists, so it's beyond just the living things. It can be something that are not seen, the realm of spiritual and death, and it's also inanimated things. Like a stone can have mana. A tree is a living thing, so it has mana, and water has mana because it's alive. It moves. It gives you energy and it feeds you, hydrates you, obviously. So everything is mana. Everything in the world, the magic of life. I would say mana is just the word to describe the magic of life, and what's also standing beyond life.
That's incredible. Something else that you told us, which was really, really interesting. It was that moment where we all just stopped in our tracks. Was you were talking about the Tahitian language, and you were saying that there is no future tense. in the Tahitian
Yeah,
language.
it's
What's behind that? Because that's incredible. I've never come across a language that doesn't have a future tense. Tell us a little bit of that.
I think when you want to start talking about the Tahitian way of life, or let's say the Polynesian way of life, there's a specific way of life, you have to understand that we have a different way of talking about the future. I wouldn't say we don't have a future tense, but we present it differently. Future doesn't exist. Only the past is known. So the future is about continuing and doing what you've been doing up to now, but just after, which is ananhe.
Okay.
So we would actually learn more about our deeds about the past, therefore, than from the future, because we don't know what we're going to do in the future. And then I'd say we have such a great environment. I mean, it's sunny all year round. It's 27 degrees Celsius all year round. Nature is bountiful. There's no fear about the future, because the future is kind of always good and always the same. So we wouldn't be afraid of the winter coming and the hard times and the need to pile up, goods, because if you don't do it, you're not going to survive winter. So I think it makes a big difference in the way you live your life. Like basically Tahitians live their life in the present day with the learnings from the past, and the future doesn't exist. So it's only about enjoying the moment all the time, all year round.
Love that.
Which can have in a city and in the modern life can have its difficulties, but we live here with a lot less stress than I'd say anywhere else. We'll have the choice. We'll have the choice to be stressed by the future, because we also have several cultures. Like my father is French, and Tahiti is French. It's French Polynesia. So we would have a lot of Western culture that we'd adopted, which is a fear of the future.
Yeah. Very much so.
Looking at your watch and looking at the time in the next meeting. But I'd say we'll have the opportunity to freeze time. We would decide that, okay, job is done. When I'm home, I'm back into the Tahiti time, which is enjoying the moment. And I think having the choice to do that, like being able sometimes, I'd say most of the time, not fear the future, I think is good for your mind. Because
liberating,
it's liberating, and it gives you alternatives. Like you can choose to be in stress and work hard and gather, make money, for the future, or you can decide, nature is catering for my needs, and I don't need to work that hard, and I can enjoy the present moment. So going from one state to the other, I think, gives you a good balance in life.
So is this a kind of the duality of the Tahitian people? You always have to have a foot in both camps. You will be a different person, in the office here in our Tahiti Nui offices, which are lovely, by the way. You'll be a different person when you get home or when you get away at the weekend, right? Yeah.
We're lucky that we can be, because of the blood mix in French Polynesia, because of the encounter with the Western world and the Americans during the Second World War, and then the French before that, coming to Tahiti and mixing so much cultures and bloods, we can pick and choose our identity, and we can be several people at the same time, at the same place, in the same life. So yes, we are very, very office-like.
Very corporate.
In week time, very corporate. But on weekend time, we're back to being wild. Sometimes savage. Can go as far as that, but we can enjoy both states. And again, that duality is a matter. And this is where we feel we're very lucky. We have the choice. We can choose the speed. We can choose our culture, at which moment we are going to be Westerners, and which moment we are going to be wild Tahitians. So I think it's great.
I love that. What is the role of Air Tahiti Nui on bringing the culture and the manner of the islands of Tahiti to the world?
Talking about the mana and French Polynesia, its environment, its beauty, its culture is mandatory for us, because nobody would fly Air Tahiti Nui if they wouldn't want at some point to come and visit our islands. So if we want to fly them, we have to have them want to come to Tahiti. So our first marketing, our first stories, our first publicities, or our ads, our commercial films, they are about showing French Polynesia. They're about showing the beauty of our islands, talking about us, the people, the culture, the food we eat, the dance we dance. So people would feel attracted, and then maybe they'll choose Air Tahiti anyway. And this is where my marketing team and I have the challenge to say, flying Air Tahiti is the best way to get to French Polynesia. And this is, let's say, the more standard part of our job. But we love better to talk about Tahiti, cultural islands, because we're part of it, and I think in the end it's why people come over here. Why would you fly all the way here if it's just for sun and beach? You can find it in many places now that are as beautiful, maybe a bit less beautiful than Tahiti, but you'll find the sun and you'll find the beach. But I think coming to Tahiti, you will need to understand that there's something deeper in their experience and what you'll find there. And if you don't know it, certainly when you see for yourself, you say, "Oh, there was something bigger in Tahiti than I thought I would find."
We came on Air Tahiti Nui, and the experience. What I will say is, when we fly a national carrier, generally, we do so because it's your first taste. For us, our first taste of Tahiti was when we boarded the aircraft at Charles de Gaulle, and you could see the crew as soon as we took off. The crew changed. I've never seen this before. They changed into more traditional, relaxed Tahitian style, but also even the safety video. The safety video is very good. It's really good. The safety video is good. We'll try and get a clip of it, maybe from the guys at the marketing here might be able to share it with us so that we can show you on the video. But it's all done in Tahiti, and it's very creative. We'd need to show it to the audience. But I love how you've brought Tahiti. You've brought Tahiti really into the aircraft and even on the aircraft. The design of the aircraft. Yeah. It's a beautiful. Objectively, it is a beautiful aircraft.
Yeah,
anyway.
It was a great teamwork, and the only thing I wasn't allowed to do, because I was lucky enough to drive the design part of the aircraft. I wasn't allowed to put white sand on the floor instead of carpet.
That would have been so great.
But this is how far out we want to go to immerse people in Tahiti as soon as they get on board, because if you come in from Europe, from Paris, let's say, a 20-hour flight is very long. 2 legs, you have a stop in Los Angeles, but it's a long journey. And if it's not part of the experience, that's boring. Like it's a pain, and we don't want it to be a pain. We want it to be more than nice. We want it to be incredible, unique, and different. We want to immerse you in Tahiti as soon as you step on board. So the flight is actually part of the journey and the experience. And so since the beginning, the DNA of the company was about how everything we do on the aircraft can be a token of and a symbol and an icon of Tahiti. From the livery outside with how our aircraft is tattooed, to the seat designs, to the carpet, to the tiara perfume we put on board, so you have that scent. You have that scent as soon as you step on board. To the music and the food, everything, and the flower, and people actually speaking Tahitian on board. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't understand it, but you would definitely think it's very exotic and very different. We'll speak also in English and in French, of course, for safety and because by courtesy. But I think all those elements are helping immerse the passenger in something that is beyond just flying and making your way to an airport, and then after you land and got your luggage, now the vacation starts. And actually, for us, it starts not even as soon as you step on board. It starts as soon as you see the aircraft, because then you see it's different and there's something different that's going to happen.
That's perfect. Torea, thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciated. And I'm looking forward to the flight back already, but not just yet.
Thank you. Enjoy your time in Tahiti, and I hope you'll get to the bottom of it. And it's going to be hard in just one stay, I tell you.
Yeah, it's going to be a journey. Thanks, Torea.
Thank you.
Cheers.